This is RQF Level 6 exam in Artificial Intelligence Operations. Uh, the time on my side of the world is 10:36 a.m. Eastern Time, inshallah. I have with me Usman Munir. He'll be going through the exam. Usman, the topic is very dense. It is going
Yeah,
to cover lots and lots of, I have so many questions because most of the things that you guys are going through, we are already implementing it within our company, right? So there's a lot of synergies. And even today, I walked out of the meeting discussing all of these things that I'm going to discuss with you today, and I'm going to ask you those questions. Okay. The objectives are use AI for enhanced incident response, for security automation in a multi-cloud DevOps environment,
yeah.
design a scalable cloud native security solution, and the third is apply best practices in cloud security. Obviously, these are the three primary objectives. You also have some of the key areas of focus like DevOps, SysOps, AI, cybersecurity, GRC, and cloud security. All of these areas needs to be discussed. You will have 25 minutes minimum 15, maximum 25 minutes to go through the presentation, inshallah. After that, once the presentation is over, there will be a series of questions, almost 10 questions that I'm going to ask you, inshallah. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Can you say your name? I just wanted to see if there is.
My name is Usman Munir.
Okay. I just wanted to hear like if there is any echo or anything like that. Okay. The
Okay.
connection is good. Everything is good. Okay. Bismillah. Okay, you can share your screen and then when I start the timer, I will let you know.
Okay. Yes, sir. My screen is okay.
No, it's still loading on my side. Okay. I can see it now. Can adjust it. Okay. Looks good. MashaAllah. Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay. Bismillah. Continue, please.
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. My name is Usman Munir. Today, my topic is about AI augmented incident response and cloud native security in multi-cloud DevOps environment. So the contents are introduction, objective, primary points of tension, or AI cybersecurity governance, etc. So the introduction is we will design a multi-cloud infrastructure by using AWS and Azure services to enhance incident response and DevOps operation. We will integrate AI-driven security tools for a scalable, secure, and resilient environment. We will also apply best practices in cloud security to ensure cloud protection or data protection. So the objectives are automating incident response and security processes, AI implemented scalable and secure solutions in multi-cloud DevOps workflow, and the data protection and operation stability. Here, how DevOps work or its processes. The primary points of attention are DevOps, SysOps, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, governance, risk and compliance, and cloud security. So DevOps CI/CD pipelines, we will use open source tools like Jenkins or GitLab for automation. And GitLab is primarily used for version control and automation, build and security, and Jenkins for orchestration and customization for legacy systems. Or it have many plugins, so it can adjust to almost any software or such kind of thing. It also used for testing and deployment. So the DevOps, the cloud services we use in DevOps CI/CD pipelines are AWS Code Pipeline and IO DevOps. These work for new updates, continually integration, and continuously deployment in workflow. The benefits of these cloud services are scalable, flexible, and cost efficient for our businesses. So here when develop a code, GitLab come in works and AWS code pipeline deploy their code in EC2 instances and same like in IO. So the next is observability. I am unable to observability and incident management. So first we will discuss about AWS System Manager. It's a cloud services of Amazon, in which it's enables automated workflow to remediate incidents using runbooks to restarting failing EC2 instances and patching servers. So here we will monitoring detection and system manager come in work with automation and runbooks and Lambda script for the remediation function and log storage in S3 Amazon Web. And the same cycle goes on when CI/CD pipeline come in works and redeployment the remediation action to the code, and the cycle remains continuing. So the next is IOR monitor. In observability and incident management, IOR monitor is a IOR service in which we use for in sysops for monitoring purpose. The code we will use your monitor use AI powered capabilities to detect anomalies in application performance, system metrics, and logs. Machine learning models automatically analyze potential incident in real time. We will use AI ML models for analysis, and these models, when detect any anomaly or misbehavior, then they trigger action group which help in remediation function or send alert to the IOR automation or logic apps. They trigger by the runbooks or others for predefined scripts used to do the mitigation servicing. So the CI/CD pipeline they use IO DevOps to redeployment the code again in IO monitor. So the next is AI anomaly detection and system failures. So like how anomaly detected, and we will use AWS SageMaker to train AI models to detect anomalies and predict system failure. These models can analyze operational data and predict when failures are likely to occur. They collect logs, metrics, and system performance data from various sources. They also use custom scripts in a SageMaker notebook to clean, normalize, and prepare the data. Split data in pre-processing, split data into training and test data. It's for the model preparation, then real-time monitoring, and when any anomaly or detection happen, then they trigger SNS services for alert, and Lambda function come in function and do the remediation action. And the reports, log metric, and historical data used to train again the SageMaker services for model training. And itself there is a model monitoring process which we use for model to make the model update and accurate according to time. The other services are your AI services. So we will use your AI services like Event Hub or Event Hub or
Continue, continue.
we will get
Continue, please.
yes, we will gather logs, metrics, and telemetry data from Event Hub using your monitor for application insight. Used your data factory or Synapse analytics to clean, transform, or aggregate the data. Your anomaly detector for time series data or your machine learning for custom failure prediction models. Deploy the model using your machine learning models, and then the action group send an alert and remediation action happen. Your automation can run pre-defined runbooks based on model output, handling tasks like scaling and system recovery. We will use CI/CD pipeline with your DevOps to automate model retraining, validating, and redeployment. So the next is cybersecurity. We will use class zero structure architecture. So the trust means never trust, always verify. So we will verify any data, devices, network, people, or workloads which access our system. And the multi-factor authentication for like biometric access card, password, etc. So the AWS and Identity Access Management services is used here when people, developer or devices access. We will apply AWS Identity Access Management apply services, apply protocols like multi-factor authentication, least privilege, rollback access control, or attribute-based access control. And they own the AWS Azure resources, and these Azure resources analyze access the behavior of people who access our system and classify them. And according to this, they modify policies for identity access management roles. Other is Azure Active Directory. Active Directory identity protection is used for help in multi-factor authentication, least privilege or rollback access control, and attribute access control. Though the Azure resources we use for on Azure resources and identity protection for modify policies, then again these multi-factor authentication or any misconduct. Key feature of identity protection is in Azure Active Directory is risk detection, risk scoring, and automated responses. The next is governance, risk, and compliance (GRC). So in GRC, we will ensure that compliance with cloud native governance tools and according to the local and country regulations and laws. In AWS, we will use AWS config in of Amazon services in GRC here. So in AWS config, we set rules and policies continuously. I think continuously record configuration changes in defined to define rules and policies, and there are some pre-built or create custom rules. So for resource monitoring, we will use other AWS services, and these AWS config when we monitor or detect any issue or any incompliant thing, then auto remediation come in work and execute predefined scripts, some custom scripts or predefined scripts. And according to these remediation, they alert send a notification using AWS SNS services, and then create a compliance report to maintain audit and history. And from this audit and history and compliance report, we will upgrade the CI/CD pipeline and use AWS code pipeline services to again set the rules and policies our for our future update. The other is your policy in your cloud. Here is same like set rules and policies for continuously record and configuration changes. So we will create pre-built and create customs for resource monitoring of like your virtual machines, etc., or Kubernetes cloud. And for the remediation action, we will use execute predefined scripts, and notification purpose we use services bus and this and notification and and then create compliance report to maintain audit and history. Then again update the Git CI/CD pipeline and your DevOps to set the rules and policies. I say next is cloud security. So in cloud security, the DDoS protection, we will use AWS Shield. It's a service of Amazon Cloud for cloud DDoS protection and like malicious activity. In AWS Shield, web application, firewall, CloudFront, Elastic Load Balancer, and Route 53 used to distribute or mitigate the DDoS attack traffic. Then AWS Shield traffic help in traffic monitoring, anomaly detection, auto mitigation, and DDoS response team. This is a advanced services, advanced AWS Shield services for 24/7 DDoS response team. DRT, and then it's create log and reports. These we can watch these reports in Cloud Watch, and this and alert or notification to the CI/CD pipeline. for further maintain the web application firewall rules or etc. The other, the in your cloud, we will use your security center services. Your security center apply help apply web application firewall, application gateway, front door, or your DNS for DNS DDoS attack. The DDoS protection, it help in DDoS protection and traffic monitoring. It monitor traffic with your monitor, and when an anomaly detect or any misbehavior or detect, then automation come in work by using run books or some scripts like then create log and reports to trigger logic apps, and logic app is a service for alerts or it alert DevOps or CI/CD pipeline. Then continuous integration and auto mitigation. So in AWS Cloud, we will use Amazon Guard Duty for detection, AWS CloudTrail for analysis, and System Manager for remediation action in AWS Cloud. And in Azure Cloud, we will use Azure Security Center to detect security threats, and Azure Sentinel to collect and analyze from sources, and Azure Automation to execute remediation action. So here is the architecture diagram of AWS Cloud. Then when a developer develop or write a code, then GitLab CI Jenkins trigger CI/CD pipelines and control, build and test the code, and AWS code pipeline deploy code in Amazon EC2 instances. AWS System Manager monitor this code, and AWS SageMaker detect any anomaly and behavior. AWS IAM inventory and access management use multi-factor authentication, least privilege, or role-based access control to maintain its integrity. And then AWS config used to for governance, risk, and compliance. And then AWS Shield used for DDoS protection. And in the architecture diagram of your cloud is here. Then developer develop a code in then GitLab and Jenkins trigger CI/CD pipeline for continuous integrity and continuous delivery of code. Then Azure DevOps deploy this code in Azure virtual machines. Then Azure monitor analyze potential incident, and Azure cognitive services is used for detection and prediction, and Azure Active Directory used for role-based access control and multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication. And Azure policy is used for governance, risk, and compliance to maintain the local and country regulations and laws. And then DDoS, for protection of DDoS attack, we will use Azure Security Center. So here is a quote of Albert Einstein: "Life is like a riding bicycle." So to make our balance, we should have to keep moving, and so let's keep moving and pursue our goals together. Thank you for time and patience.
So you can stop the screen, uh, Usman Munir.
Yes, I'm saying.
Okay. How long it took you to do the preparation for the interview and the presentation?
From when I'm getting my presentation topic,
Yes.
it's almost months, 4 or 5 months maybe.
So for the past 4 or 5 months, you've been preparing yourself for the presentation, right?
Yes, sometimes preparation, sometimes we're watching lectures, videos, or completing course.
Okay. Okay. The topic is very tough, right?
Yes,
Normally, RQF level 6 is the highest that we offer. Obviously, the topics are going to be tough, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a very loaded presentation you presented it to me. I have no other problems, except I'm going to provide you the feedback in the end. So let's jump into the presentation. It's a good presentation that you developed. In the architectural diagram of AWS Cloud that you presented, how would the integration of Amazon Guard Duty, CloudTrail, and System Manager can potentially automate the full incident response lifecycle? I mean, how can you achieve this thing using
So I
all these
can,
three things? The Guard Duty, Amazon Guard Duty, Amazon CloudTrail, Amazon System Manager automation.
yeah. So I can use Amazon Guard Duty for detection, any misbehavior or any anomaly. And when an AI model detect, with the help of AI models, we also can detect these kind of detections. And
Okay, so that's guard duty. So you can, so you mentioned the answer was right. Guard duty is for anomaly detection, or detecting threats via continuous threat intelligence feeds. CloudTrail, what does CloudTrail does in this scenario?
to CloudTrail, we will use CloudTrail for analysis purpose. We will do analysis of what kind of detection we made or
No, I mean,
is
what does CloudTrail really provides? It
for
provides you something that you can read and then determine if there's a compromise or not. What does it provide?
analysis helps in analysis processes.
How do you do the analysis? Looking at what?
Looking at the detected data that from CloudWatch, or you can
Yes.
say
How
that
does it provide the data? You look at what? Like, okay, how do you analyze the data? Reviewing the logs, the log files.
it logs metrics. It's a
Yes. Okay. System manager automation. What does it do in this scenario?
system manager helps in remediation function. It's have runbooks or scripts that we use, or
Good.
we can also create custom or predefined also available. So we will
Good,
use them
mashallah.
for
Okay.
remediation
The
also.
only thing you made was the mistake was the log files. It was a very simple thing. Okay.
Yes, so
Okay. So given the zero trust architecture slide that you showed, how
yeah.
would you combine AWS IAM policy conditions with Azure Active Directory conditional access to create trust boundaries across cloud environment? How would you do that? So
So
first
with
of all,
it,
tell me, how would you use AWS IAM policy?
we will how we I can use.
Yes, on the AWS infrastructure, how can you use AWS IAM identity access management policy?
So I can use identity access management services for multi-factor authentication, least privilege, and rollback access control.
Okay, so yes,
Sometimes
you can
or
set up
attribute based.
conditions. You can set up conditions to apply, resource level constraints, IP, VPC, multi-factor authentication, all those kind of things. Good. How would you do this with the Azure AD, conditional access, Active Directory conditional access? What does it do?
It's also for like a multi-factor authentication or access control for specific persons, or you can say that role bearer on the basis of roles or least privilege. Only also verify every individual or any
So
access.
what are, if you combine both of them, because your topic is multi-cloud architecture, if you combine AWS IAM, my left hand, my right hand, AWS and Azure AD, you combine both of them. What do you get? Why should you do it by combining both of them?
So with the help of both, if any damage or unavailable, I can access or can depend on other. So it's a benefit, and so I can get benefit from both of these sides. Some may be missing or other may have. So something like that.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I mean, for any kind of policy drift risks, you can combine both of them.
Yes.
See? Okay, let me ask you, uh, This is something you have to work on in terms of explaining yourself. You know the material very well, mashallah, but you need to work on being presentable to be able to present, right?
Yes, I'm very weak in English. So
English is not a problem. I had a student whose English was the weakest, Sajjad,
yeah,
and he ended up working at home office,
yes, I know about this story.
right? He's from the same Punjab area as you are,
Mm.
right? So don't worry about it, okay? All right, so uh, let me ask you something. How does continuous integration and deployment in AWS cloud code pipeline versus Azure DevOps pipeline affect the security posture in the multi-cloud DevOps? Explain it to me, please, the workflow. If you can't
Yeah,
understand the question, let me ask me again and I will explain it to you. Do you want me to repeat the question? Okay.
yes, you can
You know, so for the CI/CD pipeline, continuous integration and deployment, right?
continue.
What are the benefits you can get by merging AWS code pipeline and Azure DevOps pipeline?
So when any kind of update or we can find any flaws or glitch in our code, then we will update and make sure that it continuously integrated and continuously delivering for our businesses to work smoothly. So we will use AWS code pipeline and Azure DevOps. So these GitLab continuous integrity or Jenkins help for us orchestration and testing, building and version control of our code.
Yeah. In the Azure architecture diagram, how would an attack bypass Azure Security Central and Azure Policy, but still succeed in compromising workloads? You know, you showed
Okay.
that to me in the diagram. How can
Yes.
how can you do that?
In your diagram. Yes. We analyze potential incident or detection prediction. You can say that.
Yes, I mean, how would an attacker bypass the Azure Security Center and Azure Policy, but still succeed in compromising workloads?
We need to set policies or set rules and policies in AWS in your Active Directory, or we will apply multi-factor authentication or different layers of protection. If he pass one layer, then there is another layer for to stop them. So in this way, I can stop him for detecting our precious data
Okay.
or secret data.
So why is a multi-factor authentication insufficient alone in achieving zero trust architecture as presented?
Yes, multi-factor authentication, we can bypass it by using fingerprint of someone other by different gambling or you can say that such kind of things like in crimes or so we will use other authentication or methods or apply security on our networks or on sub-networks and our industrial areas. So if he can pass all biometrics or multi-factor authentication, then we can stop them at that place.
No, I mean, how would he do that? I mean, in your diagram, the MFA addresses what kind of, okay, let me ask you. Uh, the MFA, multi-factor authentication, addresses identity verification, right?
Yes.
Point of authentication, but doesn't ensure what?
Um,
What does multi-factor authentication does? It only identifies the verification at the point of authentication, right? To
Yes,
verify the person is who he is, claims to be.
yes,
What
sir.
else it doesn't do?
He attacking our servers or our websites or data. So if we define role-based access control, then
The answer I'm looking for is it doesn't do continuous trust evaluation during sessions. It doesn't perform least privilege enforcement for resource access path. There is no microsegmentation of lateral movements inside environments. That's why zero trust extends beyond the MFA by requiring access requests to be continuously evaluated regardless of the prior authentication success. That's what the zero trust does, right? That's what I was looking for. Okay, how could guard duty findings fail to trigger system manager automation runbooks despite being detected? How could it do that? Amazon Guard Duty, right?
yes, it's used
It
for
failed to
detection.
send you a trigger.
Sir, please repeat again. What did you say, Abhi?
So, Amazon Guard Duty, how could Amazon Guard Duty, fail to trigger system manager automation runbooks despite being detected? It it picks up, yes, there is a potential, uh, you
Yes,
know, breach or there's a potential compromise or whatever, but it still, you know, fails to run the system manager automation runbooks. Why? What could be the reason?
maybe the runbooks are not clearly described or used, or maybe the guard duty have some lags or not good customize in such a way that he can he can use run books to automate the remediation actions.
Well, the reason it can potentially fail is because lack of event bridge rule linking guard duty to automation. Runbook permissions issues, it can happen, and that normally happens most of the time, right? Missing SSM, execute automation document, right? It's something we
Yes,
have
they
seen
can
in
send
other
alerts.
environment. And automation documentation lacking correct target perimeters mapping for impacted resources, right? Okay, what is the difference between AWS Shield standard and Azure DDoS basic protection? What is the difference between both of them?
You can your shield, it's used for the protection of DDoS attacks.
Yeah. What is the difference? One is
What is
from Amazon, the other one is from Azure. What do they do? What is the, why do we use AWS Shield standard? To stop
so,
what?
for malicious activities or abnormal behaviors or such kind of IPs profiles.
But what does it provide?
It provides DDoS protection for our
DDoS protection. It provides DDoS protection, global threat intelligence from AWS Shield response team, right? What does
yes,
your DDoS basic provides?
web application firewall, or also use elastic load balancer. If any kind of attack happen, then they
No,
can
no, I'm
distribute.
asking you, what does is Azure DDoS basic offers? What's in the basic? What's in the basic package?
Yes, it's in a basic package. It's a free, and it provides for all user for the main or commonly used DDoS attacks, and the other is advanced DDoS protection. It's a paid, and it's provide automatic mitigation over 24 by 7, 24 by 7 DRT team, DDoS response team, who helps us in if any kind of DDoS attack happen.
Okay, what misconfiguration scenario could result in CloudTrail failing to log a critical incident, despite being enabled in the AWS architecture diagram that you showed? What could be the possible scenarios where CloudTrail fails to log a critical incident?
Maybe it's not predefined,
Yes.
or alert or your AWS SNS alert alert will not come in action.
No, I mean, possible scenarios could be CloudTrail is configured only for management events, missing data events, example S3 object level, right? Trail logs to be compromised S3 buckets where logs are deleted or tampered with, and multi-region setting disabled, right? This could potentially create problems. All right, tell me something. Why would deploying AI anomaly detection inside production workloads risks performance degradation? Why?
We will use for purpose of anomaly detection or any kind of system failure on the basis of historical data, or so if there is a correlation in historical data we feed to the model, and on the live data which we feed to the AWS SageMaker, if they find any correlation, then it can trigger a remediation action or detect any anomaly. Then he send alerts so that to the response to the security teams, or
Explain how AWS config and Azure policy remediation affects remediation actions differ in timing and control granularity. Granularity means like how
very deeply.
deeply you can go. Yes, right? How deep you can go. So, what is the difference between both of them?
Both
AWS
of
config and Azure policy.
them. Yes. Mm, what is the difference in both of them?
Yes.
And on the basic, both of them use for governance, risk, and compliance. But the difference is the AWS config and not use AWI or models for models for remediation action, or to check any governance or any rules, but your shield or your policy your policy is
What does
use
Azure policy does?
your policy set rules and policies according to the laws and regulations and internal laws of our company, so that they comply, or make sure that it comply the regulations.
Okay. This
It's
is the
also
last
help.
question, then we are done. Hypothetically, if a workload moves from AWS to Azure, so you moved a container or EC2 instance from here to there.
Here to
This architecture, what unique identity management challenges would arise under the presented zero trust model that you showed in your diagrams?
when we in any container or forum.
So there is a EC2 instance, there's a virtual machine.
Yeah, yes,
You move the virtual machine from AWS over to Azure.
Azure.
What is the first thing that will be impacted?
And the first thing,
Remember, both are different clouds. There is no federated identity access management. I've already given you the answer, right? So, what is the first thing that will be impacted?
the first thing will impacted will be, we will make sure that both of them are secure, so that if any kind of code we move from AWS to Azure or container, it may not compromise the Azure cloud. And we
I mean, what
verify
I'm looking for is
authenticate.
AWS IAM roles. You can't directly map to Azure AD app roles because AWS IAM is different. Azure AD is different. You can't map both of them together. Trust relationship needs identity federation reestablishment. As I said, there is no federated identity. That's why we need a federated identity in the first place. Policy language incompatibility. AWS uses JSON. Azure uses conditional access rules. So there's a completely different thing, right? We are done. Okay. So let me compile the results for you. Okay. Bismillah. How was your exam?
The normal, maybe average.
Would you like to know your results?
Yes.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So you scored 15 out of 25 in your presentation, right? That is 60%. Okay.
Okay.
In your Q&A, you scored 14 out of 25, right? Which is 56%, right? So altogether, you scored 58%. You have passed your exam. Okay. But you have barely passed.
Sir, I'm not fully prepared like that.
Yes. So this is done. I'm going to compile the results and I'm going to send it over to them. But this is my recommendation for you. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So I'm going to recommend you to have you received Al Razak Part 1?
Yes, received.
Start doing the Al Razak Part 1.
Okay.
You must complete them. Okay. The other thing is, are you participating in English IELTS classes?
So there is a very hard time I find to watch videos or lectures. So
Have to
not
take out time to take the IELTS classes.
okay, inshallah.
Okay, look, if you just go and study IELTS, people will charge you, how much do they charge if they teach you IELTS at a physical location? How much do they charge in Lahore and in all the places? Roughly,
Maybe in 0.1 million or two, you can say that.
like 200,000 rupees, like 2
Eh,
lakh.
0.2 million, like
No, like just for teaching IELTS?
are yes, but in rupees.
नहीं, rupees, अच्छा, okay. Explain to me, जब IELTS पढ़ाने के क्या monthly क्या पैसे लेते हैं?
Maybe something 12-15 हजार,
हाँ
20 हजार.
तो मिलियन नहीं हुए ना, 15, half a
मैं
million.
वो 0.2 मिलियन का था एक
Okay,
मतलब.
0.2 million. Okay. I missed that. Okay, so 15-20 हजार रुपए जो भी ले रहे हैं, ठीक है ना? यहाँ तुम्हारी पूरी फीस के अंदर वो शामिल है.
जी ऐसे.
So you should take the classes. It's important.
इंशाल्लाह.
Okay. I have nothing. You have the knowledge, but you can't express yourself, right? That's why your numbers came on the very low end scale. But still, you were able to pass. As I said, no one can fail the exams unless and until they make a very big blunder. Obviously, they will be able to fail the exams, right? We will discontinue taking the live exams because from June, July onwards, all the exams will be, anyone who comes from 1st of June will be subjugated to the new policy, which is going to be go for the third party exam, right?
Okay.
You have completed the exam. You have passed. You secured your
Alhamdulillah.
diploma. Alhamdulillah. Okay, that's good. But when you go for the interview to any other organization, obviously they will communicate with you in English. You have to work on your English. This
Yes.
is going to be mandatory. Okay. The
जी
other
जी.
thing is going to be, this is something you have to work on. The other thing is going to be that you need to complete Al Razak Part 1. Once you complete Al-Razak Part 1, have you completed the KYC process?
Uh, mm, yes,
Must
for
have.
an initial time I complete that.
Yes, you have to complete the KYC process. Let me check your folder as well. KYC data. Yes, we have the picture, but we don't have the video, right? Basic information, you have to complete and do that again, right? So this is my recommendation for you. I'm just looking at your intermediate, Board of Intermediate Education, uh, you know, uh, mark sheet right now in front of me. I just opened it, right? Look, this is something I'm going to tell you, okay? 760. You scored 69% in your intermediate exams, the 12th grade,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You scored 58% here today. Pretty close,
But
right?
need of improvement.
You need improvement. You will be able to work in Pakistan, right? You live in Pakistan, right? You'll
Yes.
be able to work in Pakistan with this language, communication skills, yes. But if you want to go outside, you need to do you have to improve your communication skills. I
Yeah.
sincerely believe you can do that. Let me tell you something. The person, Sajjad, you have seen him, right? The way
Yeah,
he
yeah.
talks just like you. But he is working for Home Office and he's now
Yeah.
about to apply for Global Talent Visa, inshallah, right?
Okay,
So
okay.
he's about to apply for that. Same as you, no comparison. So don't underestimate yourself saying I don't have any communication skills, I don't have any personality. No, that's not the case. तुम बहुत अच्छा काम कर सकते हो, ठीक है ना? मेहनत करनी है। उसने मेहनत की, तुम भी मेहनत कर सकते हो। उसने जोर लगाया, तुम भी लगा सकते हो ना? 22 साल के हो, जवान हो।
That's
कंप्लीट पार्ट 1 करो, जाओ जॉब शुरू करो,
it.
क्यूबरनेटिस के एग्जाम पास करो। पार्ट 2 में तुम्हें चैलेंज होगा, तुम्हें चैलेंज लगेगा। पार्ट 2 बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। इफ यू वांट टू अप्लाई फॉर द वीजा राइट नाउ, आइल्स देकर आ जाओ। 6.5 मिनिमम जो यूनिवर्सिटीज है ना, लोअर टियर की यूनिवर्सिटी भी 6.5 मांगती है। दे आस्क यू फॉर 6.5, वी कैन प्रोवाइड, सो वो ले आओ, वी कैन गेट यू द एडमिशन।
Yes,
सारे
I have planned it for in 3 4 years later in
अभी
US.
नहीं, अभी क्यूबरनेटिस के एग्जाम पास करो, देन गो।
Okay.
नॉट लाइक दिस,
Yeah.
यू हैव टू डू अ बेटर जॉब।
Inshallah.
कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स तुम्हारे इंप्रूव करो, फिर तुम चले जाओ। कोई तुम्हें रोक नहीं सकता, नो वन कैन स्टॉप यू। यू हैव अ
That's
लॉट।
it.
देखो,
Some people.
योर प्रेजेंटेशन वाज वेरी गुड, योर knowledge was good, but the way you delivered was, you know like that was the problem. So the delivery mechanism, you know the answers, but you can't present the answer, right? That's it. So inshallah you can do better. I wish you the best, inshallah. If you want to take admission in a master's program, you can do so, but you must secure higher marks in your exams, in your IELTS exams. You need to work on your English speaking skills. It's very important for you. Okay? Inshallah. Okay. Jazakallah khair for your time. Do you want to say anything?
Oh, but, thank you so much.
Nahi, inshallah. We are always here. We are always here to help you. Complete Al Razak Part 1 so that we can prepare your resume so that you can start applying, inshallah. Okay?
Okay.
That's a nice shirt. It should be proud to be a Muslim, not proud to be a Pakistani.
Yeah, well, it's one of my brothers, so
Yeah. That's okay. Inshallah. Okay.
I have shalwar kameez, so I use shirt for video only.
That's okay. That's okay. That's Jazakallah khair for your time. Remember me in your duas and ask your parents to
Inshallah.
make special duas for me, inshallah. Okay. All right. Jazakallah khair. Inshallah. I will see you next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.